Thank you so much for joining us. In the news this afternoon, a Texas candidate who is in favor of the legalization of marijuana met with supporters here in Houston today. KPFT local news reporter David Roziski joins us live in the studio with details. David.
Tucker, Agricultural Commissioner candidate Kinky Friedman met with supporters and answered their questions at Midtown Bar and Grill in Montrose this morning. The group's Houston NORML and Liberty on the Rocks hosted Friedman, who has made reforming marijuana and hemp laws the main focus of his campaign. Friedman says Texas could be the #1 producer of hemp and marijuana in the world if those crops are legalized here, and the taxes raised from their sales could be used to support better education in the state.
Currently, China is the #1 hemp-producing country in the world, and of course its biggest customer, you might guess, is Willie Nelson. No, it's not. Its biggest customer is the United States, and very quickly, Texas could become the #1 hemp-producing entity in the whole world, and that would be great. I'm telling you, if hemp and pot become our #1 and 2 cash crops, the state will realize a huge economical boom that blows away the lottery or any other thing you could think of, and it would castrate the Mexican drug cartels, and the people of Texas would become the new cartel. You don't want to operate on fear here. I mean, you don't want to be afraid of legalizing hemp or legalizing pot. You want to kind of look at what's going on in Colorado and realizing that if they're making, I don't know what they're making, but millions and millions, that we could have 200 to 250 times that profit easily, and we could actually fund education maybe, so we wouldn't be 49th in the country. Thank God for Alabama. I'm saying this as a non-pot smoker. I mean, I will smoke with Willie Nelson. That's about it. I do not smoke pot as a rule. And so this is not about long-haired hippies. It's smoking dope. It really isn't. It's about the future of Texas.
Friedman says he has spoken with many law enforcement officials across Texas, and they all have voiced their support for the legalization of marijuana.
You talk to law enforcement, and I have yet to meet the law enforcement person, and I go out of my way. I try to find the biggest redneck I can find that's an assistant deputy, whatever the hell he is, in some little town. Every one of them is for legalization. I haven't met one that thinks we're doing well with the war on drugs. And you talk to retired FBI people, they go further. They say it's the most expensive, costly program the government has ever embarked upon, and it's a total failure, and it's way over $1 trillion blown, and they all want legalization. And they also say that every couple of days there's a guy, or more than that, there's a guy who has a few drinks and beats up his wife, and of course the cops got to deal with this kind of messy domestic situation. And the cops say they've never heard of a case of a guy smoking a few joints and beating up his wife, because he forgets to beat up his wife. And he beats up a bag of Doritos or something else. Okay, so from every standpoint, effectively castrating the drug cartels, the medicinal marijuana, the fact that we could fund education and do other things, the taxes, the economy, the environment, and the last thing is this: Texas is ready to assume its leadership role in this country.
Friedman is running for agricultural commissioner in the March 4th Democratic primary and describes himself as a Harry Truman Blue Dog Democrat and a libertarian. Friedman has made a name for himself as a musician, author, and entrepreneur, calls himself the governor of the heart of Texas. Friedman ran as an independent candidate for governor of Texas in 2006, where he finished in 4th place with 12.6% of the vote. Tucker, back to you.
Well, David, if nothing else, we know that Kinky has a way with words, right?
Definitely. A very funny man.
Yes, yes. Well, we talked with some of Kinky's supporters who showed up to see him at Midtown Bar and Grill and asked what they thought about both his presentation and regarding his idea that Texas needs to be proactive and move forward with legalizing marijuana. Well, here's what some of them had to say.
I thought the presentation was typical Kinky Friedman, grassroots, statistics, knows what he's talking about, all the basics, what we need in Texas and what we need in the country.
The revenue alone in Colorado is amazing, and why we can't share in that revenue, and with our size and our population, the ability to grow hemp everywhere, take away things like fossil fuels and move forward into the future and stay out of the past.
I love Kinky Friedman, and I think he's right on. I hope that he wins for the agricultural commissioner. He'd do us a lot of good.
I thought it was pretty informative. I think that he brought a lot of issues to the table that politicians from both sides of the spectrum generally tend to ignore with marijuana. So I think it was pretty good. It was a pretty good presentation.
I think he had a great speech. I'm going to vote for him.
We're looking forward to him hopefully getting this position for Texas Agriculture Commissioner. We are from Fayette County. My husband and I are farmers, and we are pushing the industrial hemp to get it farmed here in Texas.
I think he's a real candidate. I think people should take him seriously. Even though he's been known as a satirist, most satirists have seriousness at their heart.
He says he's running mostly as a referendum, but there's also some serious issues affecting the agricultural future of Texas that he's going to be a strong advocate for rural families and small farmers as opposed to mines, large industries, etc., that are sucking up our water supply and giving us back crap to put back into our rivers and waterways.
So it was good to see that people actually out there, like supporting the legalization as far as hemp products and like marijuana, like pot as well. So that was good to see. I wanted to do my research before, but I like the fact that he stands for something that I feel passionate about as far as like marijuana and hemp, and we were able to like grow it or keep it in-house instead of like what you're saying as far as like China being the #1 producer and we being the #1 importer. My only thing is just keep it in-house. More money for Texas, more money for the United States.